Hello, peeps. Let's see if we can do the lesson we were planning to do last night. Just want to check what's my internet like. Are we still having problems with Twitch as well? Looks like it, right? Huh. No, I don't know. Once again, I'm not sure if the issue is with me or if the issue is with Twitch. I'll keep an eye on it, just for now. You guys can let me know what it's like. Maybe it's just stabilizing or whatever. So basically what we are going to do is I am going to start working on assessment. Okay, what is assessment? Assessment is when we look at a position and we don't really know what to do, then we can assess the position to try and find the correct or at least one of the better plans available in the position. If someone could just let me know what is the stream like right now, because I'm not quite sure. It looks like it should be okay. A little bit erratic maybe, but as long as the sound is fine, I guess, and the board's okay, then who cares, right? We have been having issues with Twitch and getting onto the servers and stuff like that, so a little bit problematic, but oh well. Okay, so I wonder if I changed the name correctly. I think I did, right? Okay, anyway, so you'll see on your screen underneath the next move, you'll see that there is a little list, okay, of 6 things that we do. This is a very basic list, and I will elaborate on the list as we go along as well. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is always be aware of the material, okay? Whether it's a new position to you or whether it is your own game, of course, you need to constantly be aware of the material. Now, of course, that's usually not a very hard thing to do. So in this case, of course, we can quickly see that we have 5 pawns versus 5 pawns, and there is the pieces are all the same as well. You have that. I have the same. Boom, 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 boom. So the material is completely equal. Okay, so that's not a massive factor in the game, okay? Of course, if the material is not equal, then it changes things. Then it makes it easier or harder or whatever, depending on, what you need to do then. So in this case, there's no material deficit or anything, so we can obviously just move on to the next step. So the next step is to see if there are any immediate threats, okay? Now, usually, of course, it's your move in these positions. So you're thinking of a plan, so you need to look at if your opponent has any immediate threats. Of course, if you can fork the guy or pin the, you know what I mean? If you can win material or something, then of course it really narrows down your choices or need of choices to get moves and or plans, right? So here there is a small threat here for white. It might even be losing for black. White is threatening to take your knight. And after rook takes, he can play knight b4. Okay, then he's forking the is discovering, and he's forking the pawn and the bishop, right? Okay, now you can defend this. Let's just look at an example of this. Okay, I'm gonna move the king. Let's put the king over here. No, let's push the pawn here. Okay, just as an example, just so you can see it. Now he takes here. We take back. He plays here. Now, of course, the rook's defending that, right? So all we need to do now is defend what? Maybe, yeah, but you can see already immediately now that he has 2 attackers now, you see? So even if he defends this, we can just take it, right? Boom. Okay. And now you lose a pawn. So, and that is important, of course, because now you're down material, so that's not a great plan. So there is an immediate threat, okay? But it's not immediately apparent either how we're going to deal with that threat. So we can move on to the next step and see if we can assess the position properly and then find a plan to base on the fact that we need to deal with this threat. Hi, Wasabi! Okay, so let's move on to the next step. The next step is king safety. Okay, now in this position, king safety is not such a big factor really, because of course there's not that many pieces on the board. Okay, white's king is perfectly okay, and your king is perfectly fine as well. It doesn't look like the king safety is going to be a big issue right now. Okay, so then we'll move on to the pawn structure. With pawn structure, there's a lot of different facets that we can look at. Pawn structure, we want to first look at what open files there are, what open diagonals there are, and what outposts there are, because of course we want to look at good places for our pieces to be. So we have these two open files here. One we are currently controlling, but not indefinitely, of course, and one he is currently controlling, and once again not indefinitely. We could play here and counter attack the file. So these are things that we need to look at, right? Okay, but the files don't look like they have such a massive impact right now. Diagonals, there's plenty of them, of course. Our bishop is on a decent diagonal here. This would be a decent one as well for a white squared bishop. Black's bishop is on a pretty good square as well, right in the middle of the board, and doing a lot of work as well, right? Defending, attacking. It's a very, very good piece on d4 right now, and blockading our isolated pawn. So now we'll actually look at the pawns as well. Now, here you can see that these pawns are the same, but on the other side of the board, we have an isolated d pawn, and he has two pawns on the queen side versus our one. Now, our one pawn is doing a fantastic job at blockading both these pawns. So that is good. That pawn is a very decent pawn. However, this pawn could become a big problem. In a lot of cases, of course, the isolated d pawn can be a good thing if you can keep it pushing. But if he can blockade the pawn and obviously pile up on that pawn, then it becomes a big issue for us. Like, he plays knight here, if he could move there and there, you know what I mean? Just to pile up on this d pawn. Then eventually he moves his bishop and bam, suddenly he has a lot of attackers on the d pawn. So that is one of our weaknesses, is the d pawn right now. So the biggest factors here, the pawn structure, like we said, is not so much... Oh, let's just have a look if there's any good outposts. This would be a very good outpost square for the knight, but getting there is an extremely hard task, because the knight would have to have access to one of these squares to get there. Okay? So, and most of these that are available, like this one and this one and this one, okay, these two are protected by a bishop right now. So you can't go to them. So this is a very far off dream of having a knight on that square. Okay. Now we still know that we have to deal with the threat of bishop takes f6. So we still have that in our mind. Now we look at the pieces, okay? This rook is pretty decent. It's on an open file, doing its job, right? This rook is not great, but it is defending. So, at this point, it is doing a good job at defending a lot of pieces of ours, okay? Now, if we look at our opponent's rooks, this rook is very nice on the 7th rank already and controlling the open C file. So that's good. And this one is once again not very great because all it's doing is a defensive job. Defending the king, defending the pawn, and defending the knight. But of course, so basically our rooks are doing the same thing, right? I have a good rook doing this, you have a good rook doing this. And we both have not the best of rooks doing their defensive jobs, right? So the rooks are pretty equal in this position. Now, we look at the bishops. His bishop is very, very nice, okay? It's a fantastic bishop. It's blockading the pawn on d5 as well. So it's a very, very nice bishop. Our bishop doesn't exactly have a better square, really, does it? So it is a perfectly good bishop. Maybe this square could be slightly better for that bishop, okay? Now that brings us to the last pieces, and that's the knight. His knight is not currently doing much, fair enough, okay? But it does have squares to go to, okay? Perfectly fine for it to improve its knight. It's not very hard. Our knight is a purely defensive knight right now. Has to defend this pawn, basically. So again, the pieces are not, hi Tiberius, the pieces are not such a big telltale sign here of what we need to do either. So we basically have to focus on the threat. And the threat is bishop here and knight here in the end. So if we are going to be defensive here, it might not be a very good strategy anyway. So let's have a look at an attempt at defending the position. Let's look at an attempt like bishop c4. We did say that the bishop might be better here even. Okay. But now after takes here, rook takes, knight goes here, attacking this pawn now. And now, of course, if you try and play bishop here, I can just take it, you take, and I play a rook behind it, and you're going to lose this pawn. And then the d pawn is still very weak as well. So now to defend that thing, you're going to have to go, what, here? And you can see that your position does not look like a very happy camper, right? Can we immediately take advantage of this? I'm just trying to see. Looks like we might be able to. What if we play knight here immediately? Okay, maybe he can put his rook here. So maybe he's okay. Maybe we are fine here. Maybe we can just hold this position together here. Let's just see if there's anything better for white here. It looks like it might just be okay for black. We could, however, maybe play here, right? With the idea of going here, threatening to win the pawn as well. If you go here, then we go here with this new threat now. Taking the pawns, obviously forking everything on the board as well. And this threat as well. Because, of course, the pawns just become weaker and weaker as we attack them. So just an example, like something like, let's say we go here, I go here, you move, I don't even know where. Let's say we go here, you take. Let's say if you had to take with a pawn, then rook here and rook here puts pressure on both pawns, you see. Then one of them is going to have to die, and then, of course, the other one's going to become a target, and so on and so forth. So the rook endgame doesn't look great because your pawns are broken up and not defending each other. So this doesn't look like the most fantastic position ever. And of course we could play this move straight away with the idea of attacking here, and now we keep threats on the board as well. So we can play the move order differently as well here for white to keep up the pressure. So I'm not such a big fan of the move bishop c4, but it might have to be our best idea, right? So any other defensive moves doesn't look like they really get the job done. Because we have to worry about both these threats after bishop takes f6. Now we can also look at a more aggressive approach as well. Okay. The other thing we need to note here is that all of these pieces are in the same file. Okay. So of course, once the defense doesn't necessarily work, we can also look at aggressive options as well, because we can see that there is this cheapo option here of forking the king and queen. Of course, the pawn is protecting it, but don't discard the move immediately, because like I say, if we can just make a little bit of progress in our mind here and realize that all of these pieces are on the same file, so if this pawn disappears from the board, then suddenly our rook on d6 is obviously pinning everything down, right? So now we can start looking at, if we take, he takes, we take, then of course we're attacking with this one, and we're attacking with that one. Okay, so the pawn is attacking there, and the rook is attacking here, and the pawn also has a threat here in a lot of cases as well. So now suddenly we start diverting our attention to analyzing the more aggressive approach. Okay, now the aggressive approach at least does two things to help us with our issue. It moves the knight, so now there is no more bishop takes f6 idea. It puts white on the back foot. White has to find a defense now, which means we don't have to defend anymore, which is great as well. Okay, so those are the two things that we get out of the idea of knight e4. Now let's start calculating this. Knight goes here. Okay, he has to take. He doesn't have a choice, he has to take. Pawn takes. Now we have the rook attacking here and the pawn attacking here. Now, if he moves his knight, does it really matter where? Don't really think so. Okay, maybe, let's say he moves his knight here. Yeah, let's say he moves his knight there, right? Now he is attacking our bishop. Okay, important to note that. So bishop is being attacked. We do have threats though. That would not be hanging. So our pawn is gone. Because I can see an idea of winning the piece back, right? We can just play e3 check, take here, then rook takes, and after takes we can play rook here, because the bishop would then be defending us if the knight is here. But at the end of that variation, the knight's still attacking here, isn't it? And that is the problem. So the question becomes, what if he plays knight c5, right? So that looks like that might stop the idea, but we have an intermezzo. If we go check here, pawn takes. What if knight goes here? We could take the knight as well, by the way. We could take it. Not immediately, but we could take it. So knight here, pawn takes, and after pawn takes, sorry, not pawn takes, we could play bishop takes as well. Now rook takes, and then we take pawn takes, but it looks like he should be able to get out of this. So what do we do against knight c5? Is knight c5 really that strong? That's gone, that's gone. Ooh, I see another variation in my head now as well. Remember, this pawn is gone now, okay? So the f-file is open too. So if we go knight here, pawn takes, knight goes here, we could go pawn check. If bishop takes, we could play check here as well. Because remember, this bishop is now covering all of these squares, right? So those squares are covered by the bishop. Now the king has only one square to go to, right? Wow, the king is getting trapped in here. The king has to go here pretty much. Then we have, then we can take the bishop check. King has to go here, and then there's this checkmate, right? So that looks like a mate. If he plays it differently, he can't go king here because we immediately have this mate because the bishop defends that. He can go back, but then we take check here. Then the king would have to go here. Okay, this all looks fine for him though. His knight is still okay. What's the material like in the end of that variation? It is equal, right? Yeah. Oh, sorry, can't go king here, here either because rook here is still mate. So you can start seeing that king safety becomes an issue as well once we've played this because we have that idea. So let's have a look at this now. Now that we've done quite a bit of calculation, we can quickly move forward and see how this works. So he has to take, right? We take here, and if he moves this knight, then we go check here. Bishop takes, we go check here, and now you can start seeing the problems, right? Can't go here, mate. Can't go here, mate. If he goes here, check here, mate. Okay. And if he plays here, same things apply. We go check, king would have to go here, and that would mate. Or again, all the other moves is mate. Boom. Boom. Oh, sorry, can't go there, yeah. So that is painful. Okay, now we look at different variations here. Of course, the check here can't be ignored because we are just threatening to win the rook, right? So what if he doesn't move his knight? What if he moves his bishop, for instance? Then we are just up a pawn, right? So let's say the bishop, where does the bishop go? Let's say the bishop goes here. We can just take with the bishop. I think we'd rather want to keep pieces on the board, maybe. Might be a bit more clever to keep pieces on the board. Oh, no. We can probably take here, right? If he takes, we take. Now we have a threat of pushing the pawn as well. Because he can't take back because of the fork. So maybe we could just play that. But okay, then he maybe puts his rook in behind and it's not that easy. So, so if he plays there, I figure we just take back with the bishop. I would probably have preferred to take back with the bishop. Because now you have this idea as well. And it's obviously very, very strong. We have an extra pawn up now and things look pretty good here. With a lot of threats to come. Okay, so that looks pretty simple if he moves his bishop, really. If he goes here instead, then we can definitely take here. And now if he takes, we can definitely take here because we threaten to win this pawn as well. So this looks all pretty strong. Okay, is there any other move here? After we've taken here, is there any other move here? King e3 doesn't work because we just take with a pawn. And now, of course, we still win the bishop. And I don't see any good moves here. You can't play knight here because we can just take it. Or just trying to see if there is even better for us here. Yeah, it looks like we can just take the knight. Pretty sure we could just take the knight. If he moves, let's say he moves his king now. Then we just drop back with the rook, right? Boop, just drop back and still play here. Okay, so this looks very strong. We don't have to worry about mates ever because, of course, we can even run out if we need to, so that's important. So I find it hard to see how he's supposed to stop this move, right? Sorry. Let me just promote this move. So, okay, so it looks like it's very hard to stop the move knight e4. He has to take, and after we take, now he has got to deal with problems. If the knight goes here, it doesn't change anything. We still have the same e3 check. He can't ignore us because otherwise we obviously win the rook. He takes here, we have this check. And suddenly his king is in a world of pain. Okay, so the knight can't move. Can the knight go backwards maybe? Let's say the knight goes backwards instead. Because maybe he can defend now some square like this to prevent mate threats, right? Okay. Now, now if we go check here, bishop takes, we go check here, he can block, you see. Okay, so there we go. So that's an idea. Of course, we can play here, but we are down a piece anyway, so he can lose the piece back, and he will be fine. So in this case, we probably can't play e3. So what do we play now? Now, we can win the piece back. It's definitely possible. We could just win the piece back by playing here, here, and forking him. That is possible. But is this really... Well, we will win this pawn as well in most cases, right? But is there anything better in this position? So knight there. So let's just look at this variation again. E3 takes, sorry, play here, takes check, right? So currently it's equal. Let's say he moves his king here, we take. Now he's going to defend this pawn. Okay, he doesn't have to defend the pawn, he can maybe just attack our bishop, right? Now we play bishop here, maybe. And if he takes here, we go here first. Now the knight has to move, doesn't really matter where. We take check, and then we take here. So, yeah, so it looks possible. Yeah, he can't defend the pawn directly, exactly. So he's going to have to go on the counter attack, right? So bishop f1 looks like a pretty good move. Because he's going to be forced to lose both these pawns now. But he's not down and out. Well, I guess, I mean, it doesn't look great, right? It's like, there. I don't even know where. Oh, the king is actually very awkwardly placed, isn't it? King goes here, we can we can fork him. Okay, so that doesn't work. Okay, my bad. So if he does take this pawn here, if the knight goes here, we go check here, and we threaten to win this knight as well. So that looks very, very dangerous for him. And let's say he goes here. We can just go check here, maybe. King goes here. Still doesn't look that bad for him. He could have drawing chances here. So if the knight goes... Sorry, if the knight goes here... Oh, sorry, then we have check here, maybe? No. Huh. Find me a way to win this. We need a way to win this. If he goes knight there... I mean, it looks so dangerous for him. Looks very, very dangerous for him. Maybe we could just play something simple like here. He goes here, we take here. Now we're just threatening to win the knight, of course. And if the knight moves, we win this pawn. And he can't defend the knight. Yeah, so, I mean, you can stack both pawns, I think, you know. Because the problem is you can't defend the knight now either. Because we have this check as well with take. Or take. So, so now he has some problems to deal with. So, and even if he goes here, we just take it, and we go here. And of course, we have the 3 pawns. So even if our rook has to sacrifice eventually for this pawn, the 3 pawns with the king will just shove up the board, you know. They just keep going. Hello, Rockin'! What's up, buddy? So, okay, so this endgame looks pretty bad. So if he does go for the a4 pawn, so let's just go all the way back. Wow, that's a deep calculation required there. Up, 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 up. So knight e4, he has to take, and knight e1 looks like the best move here for him. So let's just put that as a main line, right? Because that stops all the mates at least. So, so now we play e3 anyway. We go here. We go here. Let me promote this one as well. He takes. We go check. The king can go backwards, but it is very, very dodgy for him to go backwards. Maybe he can. Maybe he can go king this way. I just think it's very dangerous because he can end up mating himself as well if he's not careful. So now we take here. He still can't defend the pawn, so he goes here. But it looks like we could just keep him pinned down. Like, maybe we just play here now. And then we can obviously just win this pawn. So we're just up a pawn here. And his pieces struggle to... His knight is a little bit of a weird place. And of course, we still have the second rank. So let's say play something like blah. We just take here, of course. If he plays something like blah, we just take here anyway, because he can't play here because of check. And now if he moves his king, we take here and defend our rook. So we just win the pawn there. And now we are going to move the rook anyway. We're going to move the rook here anyway, regardless of whatever he does. And then we'll trade off into an endgame where we are a pawn up, where we should have decent chances of winning the game. There are some other cheap ideas here as well, by the way. Like if you try to play here, we could play this check as well. That would be a funny one too, because if he takes, we take here. And we go check, we fork, and of course we just win another pawn, right? So there's many ways for us to get out of out of this pin. So this pin is not a stress. This pin is not a stress at all. And like I said, we are up a pawn now, so of course we have every reason to want to play for a win here. We even have moves like this one as well. Like let's say play something like blah, right? We even have this as well. Because the rook endgame should also be winning after check. King moves here, we go here. Because he can't defend the pawn. You see our pawn, so he can't defend this one. So we're just going to win it. And then we have obviously a 1 pawn on this side and 1 pawn on this side. So even that endgame is winning as well. So it looks like this is the answer. It looks like knight e4 is the answer. So in the end, we decide that with our assessment, we realize that, of course, bishop takes f6 is a threat right now. But we we counter that by being aggressive ourselves, by realizing that this D file, all these pieces on the D file, after we play knight here, pawn takes, we're obviously threatening all of them, right? Because this one's being attacked by that, this one is being attacked by that, and of course this one, let's make it blue, is pinned by the rook as well. So yeah, so that's where the pressure comes from. So I'm pretty sure, let's just see, I wanted to see if there was another move here. What if he goes knight this way, let's say. Just want to see if that helps at all. But I don't think so, right? Check here, king here, check here. And he has the same issues as before. He can't go back because of rook mate. And if he goes this way, which is the only other way, then we just take here, check, and he still gets mated as well. Okay, so I think that was a pretty decent time there for solving that one. Of course, because it's an endgame one, it's a little bit easier as well, but you can apply assessment to any position. And that's the whole point. So we want to get better at assessing positions because then it becomes much easier for us to find plans. There's not necessarily a correct plan always, but of course, you know, any plan is better than no plan, right? And if we can find a good plan based on our assessment, then even better. Now, this is interesting for me as well. You know, there's always this question that comes along and asking, or people ask, what's the difference between a 2500 GM and a 2700 GM? Now, if we think about assessment, okay, assessment is looking at the features of the position and formulating a plan and executing that plan based on the features of the position. Okay, now grandmasters are very good at doing this. Okay, now I would say that 90% of grandmasters are pretty efficient at doing it, right? But of course, positions, the assessment of a position does not always tell you the correct plan. There's still a good 5 to 10% of positions where, you know, it's like a bolt out of the blue. You know, like you didn't find the right idea because of assessment. It's just the beauty of chess. You know, you find this really crazy idea which somehow works in the position, not because of your assessment, but just by some pure magical awesomeness. and that 10% is where a GM goes from 2500 to 2700. Okay, because the 2700 is extremely good at doing the 90% of the assessment work. He does that really well. But the 2700 is already able to start finding those that other 10% where assessment does not work, basically. Okay, so this is just my opinion, my theory as well here a little bit. Okay, as much as I start doing assessment, I start realizing that some positions cannot be assessed. Okay, and you know, a player like Carlsen is really tapping into that 10% of positions, or you know, just finding ideas and moves in positions where the assessment is not that easy and or clear. Okay, where the standard GM can't necessarily do that. He will focus basically on his assessment skills. But in order to become as strong as a grandmaster, okay, exactly, instinct, exactly. And that is exactly right. That's where the instinct comes in. But of course, the instinct is built on your understanding and assessment skills. Exactly. So in order to get to a GM level, of course, you first have to be extremely proficient in doing the standard assessment like we are doing now. So that is why I will be taking a lot of time and hammering on these things. And of course, you have to have a very good endgame understanding as well, because if your assessment can lead you to a winning endgame, like in this game where we realize that, okay, pawn up here should be winning, this should be winning, this should be winning, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, so this is why I started doing a lot of assessment, okay? Because a player like Carlsen can assess a position within seconds. That's why they play such great blitz as well, because they're actually doing assessment even in blitz. So a player like me, I can't do it that quickly because I haven't been doing it long enough. I'm not efficient in doing it fast. So right now it took us 30 minutes to assess this position, where Carlsen would probably take 1 minute to find all of this. But it's only because he's been doing it for years, so he does it much quicker. So the more you do it, the more efficient you become at it. And that is our real goal here, is to do it a lot and become efficient. Okay, we're going to move on to the second position. We only have 2 for the day. We'll try and do 2 every day. I'm going to flip this one. Yeah, basically evaluation, yeah. But evaluation is maybe a little bit more of a broader term, because evaluation, you also want to look at variations. Assessment doesn't look at variations. Assessment just looks at the features in the position, you know? Weak squares, you know what I mean? Like all the small features in the position is what you try and take consideration of. But by doing it in steps, okay, like we did in the previous one, we realized that black had a threat. So we started using the rest of our assessment of the position to try and deal with the threat. Where, you know, if material is an issue, of course, then of course everything, yes, the strategical features, yeah. Now, when material is a factor, then we have to look at wait, what? Ah, thank you. Let me quickly pay you, Bakus. You're so great. So this is why it's nice to do it by steps as well. Because if you do it by steps, and of course you get really quickly at doing the steps, then you can quickly assess what feature is the most prominent in the position, and you can start focusing your analysis, your plan, and the rest of everything on those steps. So here, okay, we can immediately have a quick look, and we can see that it is equal on material. Okay, pawn, 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 blah, pawn, 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 pawn. Okay, we both have a piece, and of course we both have queens, rooks, and rooks, right? Okay, so it's equal on material. So that at least throws that out the window. Yes, please, post haste, my friend. Okay, now the second thing we want to look at, is there any immediate threats? Okay, of course, we can immediately see that he is threatening our bishop. Fine, immediate threat, done. Okay, so obviously we can't just necessarily lose the piece unless we're going to get something cool out of it, right? So it's an easy figure out there is a threat. So we know that we might have to move the bishop, but that's not all that is in the position, of course. But now we have to start already catering our ideas around the fact that he is threatening our bishop. Okay, now we look at the next option, king safety. Okay, white's king is fairly safe. Okay, you know, you put a bishop on g3 and like rock solid. Okay, so then you're like, okay, fine, my position is okay. There's nothing you can do about it, right? So that is one of the things that we can look at here, is that white's king position is very nice. Black's king position on the other side is not so great, okay? This bishop is bearing down on him, even if there is a pawn in the way. This rook is bearing down on that king as well, okay? And our queen is also bearing down on this as well, okay? There's a measly little pawn in the way of our queen getting access. So basically, so king safety is one of the big things that we want to look at here as well. And this is why the steps are in a certain order. Okay, you know, king safety is third on the list here because king safety is very commonly one of the big factors to take in consideration in a position like this. So when we look at the position here, we can immediately see that the black king is not looking very safe. We can see that there are easy ways for us to open up the black king by playing something like rook takes here, right? I mean, that just smashes open the king because we can replace it with another rook. So that is one important thing that we have to realize here. Now, the other problem, of course, is that if we do this, the king can still just hide on c7. But king safety is one of the things that we want to also, you know, keep in the back of our heads. Now let's look at the pawn structure. Okay, pawn structure is next on our list. So we look at pawn structure. Black's pawn structure looks a hell of a lot better than white's, right? Black can play. Black's pawn structure looks pretty good, right? Everything is connected at least. This pawn is a little weak right now, but we could maybe play here, etc. So it does look like he should be okay though, from a pawn structural point of view. Okay, white's pawn structure on the other hand, he's got all these doubled pawns. Okay, so not great from an actual pawn's point of view. Okay, these pawns look perfectly fine, of course. Now we look at all the features that pawn structures reveal to us. We look at open files, open diagonals, outposts, and so on. Now we know we have this open file here, which is pretty good. Yeah, I do have a YouTube. Yeah, I have been a little bit lazy with you know, exporting my YouTube. But I do have a YouTube channel. Yeah. So, sorry. So again, there is this open file here. Okay, there's two semi-open files here as well for white. There is open diagonals for the bishop. Okay, so this bishop is not bad. Of course, this bishop here even. So if it goes to g3, then so the bishop does have decent spots. Outposts. This knight has a nice outpost here. Could be quite a big nuisance actually. The knight has a good outpost here, good outpost here. So there's plenty of outposts for the black knight. Now, so we can see that we have more open files than black, right? Black does have these two open files as well to attack our king. So that's another thing to take in consideration here. So open file seems to be the biggest factor here, right? Okay. Now we look at the pieces next. Okay, so pieces next. The queen and rook is doing a good job at trying to attack our king, and this rook will probably join the party soon enough, right? With rook g8. Our pieces, this rook is doing a fantastic job at attacking this weak b7 pawn, which looks like it's holding everything together really right now. Okay, and then we also have our queen attacking this pawn, and this rook can easily come into the position after rook going to b1 as well. We also have moves like a6 possible as well, to try and open up the king position there as well. So that's also a move to take into consideration. So now we have to go back all the way to two factors. Our bishop is being attacked and his king is weak. Okay. Now before we play defensive, just always remember that before you defend, always look if you can't attack first. Okay? Because attacks come and go very quickly. If you don't capitalize on an attack immediately, then within a move, it can be gone. So we want to look at if there is any way we can attack this position straight away. Okay. Now, the first move that comes to mind here to me immediately is just that we could take this pawn. Because then we are pinning the pawn so it can't take our bishop anymore, right? So we could take this pawn. Definitely possible to take the pawn. Now, if we do take the pawn and he plays something like d4, boom, then we can move the queen, let's say to b3, looks a little ugly, and then, of course, we have a threat on b7, right? Okay. Entertaining. Now, now the problem is, though, is that after that, if he moves... Okay, so let's look at the variation now. So boom, boom, queen b3. We have to look at that as well. Exactly, Tiberius. We have to look at that as well. Now, if he takes here, though, and we take here, what if he goes here? Now you can see that the knight covers all the check squares. The knight covers this pawn, so it's safe there. So a move like this doesn't do anything immediately. And now, of course, he is also threatening just to play this as well, to trade off some pieces. So suddenly it looks like he could just do this. I mean, it doesn't look fantastic for black, but he does look like he can defend. And if he can defend, then of course he's just a piece up. He's also threatening to play maybe here, we take, and even here, right? So, and f3 is possible. There's so many things possible here. Actually, he can play f3, right? Because if you play g3, he can take here, and then he has sacrifices here with mates. So it looks... I mean, this knight does a fantastic job at defending the king right now. a1... You mean a2 to g8, you mean? Okay, yeah, okay. So let's go back. So this look a little bit dangerous, right? Okay. So you wanted to play rook f to e1. There is maybe a better move than that. What if we play queen takes d5? If you want him to take the bishop, then let him have it, sure. No problem. I agree with you. Because look at the variation like this. Now we can start seeing other variations in our head here, okay? If we play queen takes here, and he takes the bishop. Now we can sack. Okay, so let's just look at all the sacrifices. King goes here, we take here. We go check here. Now, of course, if the king goes here, we take here, we play a rook here, and it's going to be death. Because he's not fast enough. So let's say if king goes here, he goes here, we go here, we play here. Right? Right? It's like, right? Is this winning though? Let's just go back. Just want to make sure that we get the right move now. Check. King goes. No. Okay, if we go rook here and he blocks it with a rook, stopping it. Now what? No. We're threatening mate, right? So, you know, he has to stop the mate. He has to stop this mate. He has to stop the mate. So let's say he plays here to stop the mate. Is there a way for us to mate him now? We can win the rook back, of course. No, he has... Yeah, but I mean, he has to stop mate threats the whole time, so he can't do any of that. You know what I mean? We are a little bit faster than he is, so we should be fine. So now if we go check here, the king can't go here because of check here, and there, and mate. And if he goes now this way... Quite annoying. He's currently saving himself, right? He is stopping himself right now. So if we go here, he goes here. Maybe we have another path of checking him, maybe. Just trying to find the right way to mate him here. Yeah, we can win the rook back, but I mean, is that really enough to... You know what I mean? To win the game still? What if we go here, maybe? No. Like, no. Huh. Can this king escape here? We're not up a rook. How would we be up a rook? We would be equal. Actually, we would just be up a pawn. Hey, Devakaran! Thanks for the follow, Devakaran. No, we wouldn't be up a rook, though. Here, we go check. King goes wherever. We don't really care. It's not up a rook. We're just up a pawn now. We're just up a pawn. Of course, it does look like we're winning, right? I mean, we can just win all the pawns and stuff like that. Which variation? Then which variation are we up a rook? Because we're currently down a rook, right? I mean, I just want to make sure that we can't just mate the guy. Surely it feels like there should be a mate here somewhere. Wait. How about this? How about that? Now we're threatening mate, right? So how do you stop that? What's the plan of stopping that one? If you play here, then I have check, king takes, and I have mate. Okay? So you can't play that. So now you have to play here, right? Now I can play here maybe, threatening this. And you can't defend with this because I can just take it. And if you take, of course, I still have the mate, right? And if you try and stop it with the queen, of course, I can just win your queen as well, anyway as well. Not that that looks like it's really winning. Yeah. Really? Well, I'm sorry. Is the video going nuts? I don't know. I've been having a lot of issues with Twitch, eh? I've been having a lot of issues with Twitch. Because not all of the servers are down, but some of the servers are giving a lot of problems. And of course, naturally, I'd have to go through those servers. So, but it should be fine now. I'm just trying to see if we can't find a mate here. So, okay, so if I go here, you go rook here. Huh. But, okay, I mean, worst case scenario, of course, we can get into that winning endgame, right? King goes here. Takes check, king here. Huh. Ah, wait a minute, wait. If we just go check here straight away, he has to go here, right? We go check here now. He goes here, we go check, he goes here, and we go here. There we go. That's it. Because, of course, now we have mate. There we go. So we have all of these mates. Now, stopping that is impossible. You can't stop them all. That's correct. Sorry. So we can just run his king around a little bit, right? So after takes check, sorry, not meant check here. Okay. If the king obviously goes here, then we just made him. Boop. So he has to go there and then check here. And if the king goes this way, okay, then we just mate. There and mate. And of course, if the king goes here, we just go check here. Just to force him back here and then the mate with all the mate threats, yeah. Okay, so there is a mate. There is a mate. There is a mate. I knew there had to be one. Okay. So queen takes here. He can't take the bishop because all of it's forced, right? So check there. If he moves his king anywhere but take the piece, then we just go check here. We made him anyway. So he has to take the knight. And after this check, if he goes here, we can just play check here, and he gets mated. So that is all mate. But of course, he doesn't have to take the bishop. But this does show us that there is a mating idea with this move, right? So now, what does he play now? If he doesn't take, what does he play? Because he could just attack our queen, right? So what if he just attacks the queen? Like either here or here. So of course we're basing our analysis and our plan on the fact that black's king is weak. So we are starting to look at a lot of variations here to try and see if we can exploit that. We can't play rook takes b7 first because the king can always go back to c7 and then he's all defended. So we can't allow that. We need to be able to play rook here and queen here when it's needed. But now let's say he plays something like this. Now what? Okay, we can play queen here, right? Threatening to threaten the threatener. And now if he defends...
Excellent.
Hi, Alexander! Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the show. We're doing some bit of an assessment and or evaluation of positions, and now we are learning about... no, 97 doesn't do anything, right? 97 just drops, just gets mated. 97 gets mated. Remember, the knight has to block this diagonal here. So then he just gets mated anyway. So he can't play 97. So he has to play a rook going to d8. Just to attack the queen, right? Now, if we play here and rook goes here, what do we do then? Is the question now. Now, we can just move the bishop, of course. Fine. We could really just move the bishop. Like bishop goes here. And remember that there is now a threat here as well. So there's a checky threat there as well. However, there is an interesting other idea here, again based on the same facts, right? If we could get here or here, then he would be in trouble. So look at the idea of bishop takes check. Now the knight can't take because of the obvious... shall we play queen takes or... Ooh. Maybe it's not as obvious here. Okay, wait. Check. King goes here. Check. I want to mate him in the corner, but it doesn't work, does it? Because the knight still defends everything. So we would just play queen takes, right? King goes here. Yeah. We will get to queen takes e5. We will get to queen takes e5. I just want to look at this variation first. Just want to look at this variation first. Because we want to make sure... We have to eliminate everything, right? Now... What do we do now, though? If we wanted to do all of this, what do we do now? Maybe just rook check. King goes here. But then we don't have any checks because the knight defends that square. So if he runs this way, what do we do? What do we do with the drunken sailor? Huh. Okay, maybe he can run. Maybe he can run. Maybe we have ourselves a runner. Because again, that knight could be quite a good defender. Huh. Okay, is there nothing with rook takes? King goes there. Check, check. No, it's the same problem, right? Yeah. Because our queen is currently hanging here, so... Huh. There might be a mate here anyway, though. What if we go check here, king goes here, we go check here. Ah, but he can go king here. That's the problem. Huh. Okay, maybe we could just go here, right? Because currently we are threatening now to go here. Or even here and here. So what if we just play queen there? He can't move his knight because queen c6 is mate. Okay? He could check us though in a lot of places, right? If he goes check here, we go here. If he takes here, we go here. We're still fine, right? Threatening mate here now. So that might still be okay. If we put our queen, can he defend anything? That's the question. Can he defend any mates here? That's the real question here, is can he stop mates? Now, of course, he can't play here because of mate. Let's say he goes here and threatens mate himself. That seems like a sensible choice. Check, 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 check. We have a big fat checky check battle again, huh? Yeah, exactly, but I mean, I don't really see it. That's the problem. I don't see it. Because the king can hide the whole time, because we don't have access to this square right now. Like, let's say, okay, maybe we can. Maybe we go check here, king takes, rook check, king goes in the corner, and then maybe we can just find a way in here. Like, magically. What do we do now is the question, really. We don't have access to one of these two squares. And that's what we need. Maybe just, maybe here we just play here now, right? Threatening mate. How does he stop mate? But you could play here, you see? There we go. There's a way to stop mate. So that's my problem, is how do we get a mate here even with his king trapped over there? Maybe a6 is fast enough. But you can still play here, maybe. You can still play that, though. So the problem is just if we play bishop takes, so let's just look at the variation again. Yeah, but that's too slow, Tiberius. That's too slow. That looks way too slow. You know what I mean? Because he can then counterattack and attack and mate you. Like rook g8 or whatever. So what did I miss here is the question. What did I miss here? Now queen takes looks tempting, but after king here, it looks like he can just run as well, which is very annoying. Maybe it's not that easy to run. What if check? King goes here. Check. Whoa, what's going on here? Wait, what's going on? No, rook b8 doesn't work, Extreme. Rook b8 doesn't work. That was the whole point. Rook b8 doesn't work in this variation. Rook b8 doesn't work because of this check. You see? Because now we get access to the square. Now he's in trouble. Now he gets mated. So rook b8 doesn't work. Rook d7 is the saving grace. Otherwise, I would have played this because rook b8 doesn't work. But after queen takes, king here, rook check, king goes here, queen check. The problem is the king can go here even. The king's just running away. He's like, I'm gonna go hide over here. Like, I'm out of here. So rook here, bishop. So this bishop takes, knight takes, right? Rook takes looks so juicy though. Here. So queen b5 is still a strong move. What did we say against that? Okay, knight check, right? Or I was saying, what if he just threatens mate though? And that is a big issue. We take issue with this. We take very big issue with this. Now check, king goes here. Why is this thing being so slow? King goes there. We could win material, right? We could go queen check. Sorry. King goes here, we go check. King goes wherever, we take here because we are defending the mate square. Okay, okay. Starting to feel a little bit better about this variation now. For some odd reason, this thing is just like, sorry, like taking away stuff. Let me not touch anything. I'm not touching anything. It's like it's struggling a little bit to keep up with my arrows and my moves and stuff, right? Okay. So now, if he takes, of course, here, we can just take back, and we are up the exchange, and his king is still looking awkward. And this looks okay, right? Is there any way he can defend against this? So this is the position, right? If he goes knight check, we just move the king, and he has no sacrifices, so whatever. And the same variations apply, but. Oh, of course, now he can't attack you because it's mate. So he can't threaten anything, he has to check you the whole time. If the knight has moved, then he has to check you the whole time. He doesn't have any counters, like queen takes g2 doesn't work. You just take the knight on f and you just run your king. The king runs! Blup, 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 blup. Away! So we do have a threat here of playing check, check, and check, winning the exchange. Of course, we are up 3 pawns now as well. So we managed to get a lot of pawns out of the deal here as well. So that looks like it would win. Now let's again try and find a defense here for him. What if he moves his rook somewhere? No, that doesn't work. Like if he moves his rook, like let's say here to get defended, okay, so we can't skewer it, then we can just play here now, trap him, and threaten mate. Because how's he going to stop that from happening? Good luck, sir. Yeah. Huh. Okay, so that looks perfectly fine. So after queen b5, what does he play is the question. Can't play rook b7, can't play knight b7, d7, d7. He can't push his f pawn because we just take the queen. Can he use his queen somewhere maybe? Let's say he puts his queen f6 there. Because now it'll have an extra defender on this square, right? Now, the problem is with it is that he does trap his own king possibly as well. So check king here, check king here. Check king here. But he does, no, we can still win the exchange. We can still win a rook, right? Check here. And now if he goes here, we take, and we just take. And we just win the game easily. Okay. So queen b5 might just be our beauty. Our gorgeous beauty. I don't see any way out for him. I don't see a way to defend. Okay, let's do the same job. Let's say queen here. Because of course the queen still defends on this square. Okay. But now again in this variation it feels like... No, wait, we can't. Now he is threatening to play here maybe. Trading off the queens, right? That's a bit of a nuisance. Okay. So check. King goes here. King goes here. My bird. Check. Check. King goes here. Maybe we could go here. No. No. You have to be careful of all the forks the whole time. You have to be careful of this knight stuff as well. And he has cheapos the whole time. Cheapos. check. Okay, so let's start checking this guy, right? We have a check here as well. Could be interesting, but it doesn't look like it is. He could just run. Yeah, rook d1, king e6. Now we have to still continue. So it's the same variation, but of course now we can't win the rook because the queen's defending as well. Now maybe... Yeah, of course, but that's the whole point. Now check here. King goes here. I guess the king could go here as well, right? No. Then we. Ooh. No, then we could take here as well. So this looks dangerous because now we have this threat as well if he comes forward with a king. Although he can run. He can run, it looks like. Okay, so let's just go back. Is there any way to trap his king here? Queen b5, queen g5 looks like a possible good move here. I don't want his king to run though. Is there any way we can stop his king from running? I mean, we might be able to play f4 here as well. Just winning the piece back. Because we are up 3 pawns, right? So like, bam. If he goes check here, we just take it. If he takes, we just take it. And now we're just 3 pawns up in the game. So that could be easy enough. Excellent. Hello, Petya. Thanks for the follow, Petya. And welcome to the show. We are wrapping up, really. We are just trying to find every known variation on the planet, right? And this is just the one variation. There is still... okay, so let's just do this. So queen b5 looks fine. If queen g5 gets played, f4 looks like it could also just work. Because like I say, if we just win the knight back, we can trade off queens, doesn't matter, it's fine. It is perfectly fine. Perfectly fine, I say. f4. And of course he can't take it now. And of course the knight's hanging. So he's just getting fort, right? So he's going to have to do something anyway. So it looks like this is the only real move he has. He has no other checks. I mean, if he goes like queen here, let's say, then we can just take it as well. But okay, we also have all these threats again, right? We can start with all the checks again, maybe. Oh no, now it's different as well, right? Because now we have this knight hanging as well in a lot of positions. If he goes here, we just take with check. Okay, so that's very, very dangerous. And now we still threaten to play here and just win the rook. So so he puts himself in a lot of trouble here, because if he goes here, then of course we just play here, and now we have skewers. Okay, so it looks like queen g5 won't do anything either. Is there anything else for black here? Our goal was to try and defend this piece here. Now we know it can't move, because if it moves out of this file, then we can play rook d1 and then the mate is evident. Okay, so nothing to do there. Little bit of danger. So I'm pretty sure that this works. Okay, pretty sure. What we will do quickly afterwards is that, no, you know what, I don't even want to use the engine, right? If you want to go use the engine at home, you're welcome to do so. Okay, you can go and look at the position and you can see if you can find anything that we missed. But again, for me, it's much more important to do the work yourself. Okay? So I'm pretty sure that it works though. But now, that was if he just plays with a knight. What if he plays queen takes, right? So what if he plays queen takes? Now we have queen takes f7 check. That was the goal. The goal was again to get him to this square. If he plays here, we play check. King takes here, we take check. And of course, we will win the knight now as well. So this was the goal here. Now, we have the same idea here. If he goes here now, we don't have the same checks though, but we do have threats, right? So we can play here. Still play here. And then we play rook here, and we play queen mate. So that's basically the plan here. And it's much harder for him to defend this position, because of course he has less pieces on the board now. And even if we could just trade off pieces, we still win this endgame anyway as well, right? Like if he tries to do something like that, we can just take, boom, queen takes, we take here, check, and then we play here, and of course whatever. Endgame is winning. So this is easily winning. So if we play queen takes f7 check, he doesn't have, okay, you can maybe play king here, let's say, right? But after check here, it starts looking very, very dangerous again. Or do we just leave it? Check, king goes here. Huh. Guess it's not over yet, is it? Do we have any other better move here? Maybe we just take here straight away. Quite possible that we could just take there straight away, right? Because this king is still trapped here. King is very, very trapped here. Now let's say he tries to block. We can just win our piece back, right? Or worse. Yeah, just check, right? If he goes here, we play rook takes. Yeah, I'll be doing the World Youth. I'll be doing World Youth because the World Cup will be covered by the Chess Bras. The Chess Bras will be doing the World Cup, so I'm going to do World Youth instead. From the 16th to 26th of September, I'll do World Youth. It's under 14, under 16, under 18. There will be plenty of Grandmasters and International Masters playing in the World Youth. So it should be lots of fun. A lot of fun. Hello, do we have a puppy saying hello? Come up here. Hello, everybody. It's good morning time. Well, actually, it's afternoon, puppy. It's afternoon. You're crying. Yes. What you doing? Huh? What you doing? Are you being a good boy? Huh? Say hello to everybody. Say Popo. Good boy. Oh. It's puppy hot. It's hot outside. Okay, go on. Go sit down. Go sit down. Go sit down. Do I get love? Okay, come. Sit. Okay. Good boy. So yeah, so in this case, of course, we just win back the rook, right? I mean, it takes here, we just take here. And the endgame is just purely winning for us. Takes, and of course, we're just up 6,000 pawns again. Yeah, you saw him. You saw him. Puppy came and made a special appearance, you know, a special afternoon appearance. Lunchtime appearance. Okay, so it looks like after rook takes b7, it's going to be very hard for him to defend everything. Huh. Very, very nasty. It's very nasty, I say. Because we're threatening to go check and then queen here as well as ideas. It's very, very dangerous for him. Just trying to see a concrete variation. It looks fantastic, of course, but you know, he's not dead yet, is he? Let's play something like rook here. There we go. Just to find a move, right? Because I just want to get a move here. Now, after check, the problem is that our rook will be hanging. So that's one of the small issues here. The king can run to c5. But okay, maybe here we don't have to do anything. Maybe we just play here now, right? Because now, of course, we just boom, you know, like, what you gonna do about this? Let's say you play knight here to give you a king in the escape squares. Then, oh, we are attacking the queen, right? Oh, so the queen can take us. Sorry, of course. The queen is defending. Rook here, the queen is defending that square. My bad. For some odd reason, I missed the queen here. Huh. Oh, we can just win the knight. Sorry. We can just win the knight, right? If he goes this way, we can just take the knight. I forget that we can just take that knight there. And then, of course, we're up 4 pawns here, so whatever. And if the king goes this way, then the problems start becoming a big issue here. I mean, he can't stop all these threats. Everything is pinned down. Everything is nailed. So he's going to have to start losing material. So that looks perfectly fine. Is there anything else we can do here for black? Black can't go backwards with his queen because he gets mated. We know he can't block because of this check. And it's still tickets. Busted. So it looks pretty good. I mean, bishop takes e7. Bishop takes e5 looks very strong here if he defends. Now, what if he plays with the other rook? Okay, let's play every single variation, right? I don't think it changes anything really. We can still play here, and everything still applies. If he takes knight takes, this is even worse for him, right? Because, or is it better? No. Because now, of course, if he goes backwards, if we go here, he goes here. If we go the other way around, because now it's different though, isn't it? It is different. So if knight takes, let's say rook takes even, king here, we go here. Now, of course, the difference here is that he has no threats. That's one of the small bonuses here, is that he has no threats. Because, of course, he can't use his rooks. Just trying to see if there's no direct way for us to win here, though. Huh. Maybe not. Okay, but here he has a rook hanging, right? So if we do play this way around, king goes here. It looks like it should be just like completely dead, but it's not. Never is it? Never is with this guy. Maybe we could just play f4 on a lot of these variations as well, right? Because, I mean, the knight can't move. The knight's going to be dead if it moves. So in a lot of these cases, maybe we can just play knight. So what if he goes that way around? Takes. Huh. Is a mate? Hello, Wickby! There. What? Queen takes? There. Everything is not entirely mate. We can never go to rook here. Okay, that's important to note here. And the knight does cover some white squares. So if you see a magical mate here, then you must tell me. Oh, in this case, yes, of course. Yeah, sorry. No, you're right. We should be able to mate here, right? Because in this variation, rook takes, and now if king goes back, we can just go check, right? Yeah, check, king takes, and here, of course, you can't go to this square. Yeah, I'm with you. If the rook is on a8, of course, you can't go to that square, right? Oh, no, it's just mate. Ugh. King goes here, and we mate. Yeah, no, you're right. So that's why the a8 rook can't go. So he had to give himself the a8 square to go to in this variation. Okay, so fine. He can't play that rook takes. Or that rook defense. Now, is there any other way for him to defend this square? What if he plays f6? Boom. That's it. f6. Because all I'm trying to do is just defend the squares, right? I mean, I'm just trying to defend the squares now. Now, we did with a pawn. We can play a6 now, possibly, maybe. Huh. So if f6 happens, what do we play then? Huh. This might save him. I mean, we're up a pawn now. So we could just drop back bishop g3. Fine. Is there still a mate somewhere here, though? Maybe a6 is interesting, right? Because if he plays here, maybe we can play here. With the obvious threat, right? Because now if he takes here, we play here. If he plays here, we take it. And we just go check. I guess he can go back. Yeah. Whoops. Okay, I guess we don't have to take the queen, right? I mean, this might not be that easy still anyway. a6, b6. There's no crazy sacrifice there, so we can't take here anymore. That's gone. Seems like he might survive this, but okay, once again we are up a pawn, right? So if we just play bishop g3, then what? You know, then we can just continue because we can put the queen back, we can keep this diagonal here for this square, and then we put the rooks on the right squares, blam blam. You know, it looks like we should just be able to just drop back with the bishop and then just continue on with rook b3, rook takes c3, and continue the attack. I mean, we have now won a pawn for our deal, we have no weaknesses currently. You know, he can't move his knight because of check on b7, winning the queen. Our king is safe, and like I say, the idea is just to play rook b3 and takes on c3. Because defending the pawn is extremely hard for him anyway as well. So, so it looks like we can just play that, right? So if he plays f6, we can just play here. And if he plays b6, we just drop back. Now, I like the move b6 first because then, of course, we force him to make some weaknesses as well. Before we play bishop g3. We could possibly just play bishop g3, of course, as well here. Whatever, blah. But in this case, there's still a threat on this square, right? So maybe it's fine. Maybe we keep it there. So all in all, it looks like this just wins. Queen takes d5. We know he can't take, okay? Taking is losing. Rook, we found a way to win as well. Other rook is easy to win because then the a8 square is not available for him to hide. So that's an easy mate. And then f6 is the only other way to defend the d7. Okay, what if he plays rook here? Let's look at that. What if he plays rook there? To defend the b7 square. Again, it looks like we could just drop back with a bishop, right? I mean... we're still a pawn up, we still have the same idea. That c3 pawn is extremely weak, so it looks like we can just drop back. Sorry about that. The knight still can't move because you have that cheapo bishop takes e5 threat. So all in all, it just looks perfectly fine, right? I mean, white won a pawn now. The c3 pawn is going to fall very, very likely and very, very soon. So all in all, it looks perfectly fine. Okay, let's bite the bullet here real quick and just slap on the engine. I just want to see what Stockfish says. Doesn't like my idea. Okay, it does win as well. It doesn't want to play it, but it does win. So let's look at what variations. Okay, so pawn takes, then of course rook takes b7 and it's mate. Yeah, mate in 12. So that's fine. So queen takes, if he plays rook a to d8, that's the one we looked at, right? He says queen b5 might be just a better idea. But I did look at bishop takes, I did look at it. It was my first move, right? But let's just look at bishop takes. Just want to see what refutes this. Queen takes, sorry, knight takes, loses, yeah, to queen takes b7 or rook takes, doesn't really matter. Sorry, let me go back. If queen takes e5, queen takes f7, oh, queen e7. Alright. It's still perfectly equal, of course, but that is the problem. So queen b5 is the best move, but we did look at it. So takes, no man, go on. Rook a to d8, queen b5 is our top move, yeah. And now if he plays rook b8, we again can just drop back with the bishop. It doesn't really matter even which way we go. So that makes sense. And that's about it, right? If he plays, we looked at the other rook, right? Looked at this rook, then of course, okay, he still wants to just go queen b5. But this one, again, queen e5, queen e7, right? Yeah, okay. So that's what I kind of missed there, is that he goes queen here, queen here. Okay. Cool. So there we go. But queen takes d5 is perfectly fine. He does suggest, okay, never mind. The computer was for a while suggesting rook e1 as well. Which looks like it also might still win anyway. Cool. Okay, and that's it. That is it for our assessment. Took me a lot longer than I wanted to. I will be back in a short while with some tactics. So give me another 30 minutes and then we will do some tactics as well. We'll hit that Lichess tactics and see if we can recuperate some rating from yesterday because it was a disgustingly bad day. Maybe I can do better today. Okay, guys. I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes. Thanks for joining me and thanks for the new followers. Yeah, the video is laggy. Fancy Pants. I don't really know what's your full name. I can just see Fancy. No, you know what? We have been having a lot of issues with the Twitch servers. And there has been a big problem, of course, as well. I mean, in general, my webcam is not so great, but it's more because of my computer, really. But yeah. But I'll see you guys in 30 minutes anyway. Cheers.